So I figured as I was testing stuff in the background, or not on recording, I decided to just record a run I did. And so this is me, my own commentary over gameplay I recorded. So in a sense, it is pre-recorded. So I mean, if you want to take that into account, I guess you can. But otherwise, the title of this video, I guess I'll decide when I, clean this video up, edit it, and then send it up to this platform. Otherwise, it's just going to be me kind of testing things out. Because, again, there's talk about balance here and there, and so I just decided to do a few things here and there. And even if that's the case, again, if you believe me, then what I can say is that I did more than a few Mizuki runs in the background, and, well, this was one of the first ones I did. The ones I did after weren't bad either. But more than a few of them, I died due to my own human error. I even make mistakes in this run, if I can recall, so take that into consideration as we move into update 9.92F, which will contain balance changes, not just for characters, but probably other things as well, so yeah. So watching myself back, I'm going to hate myself. I already got good luck as Mizuki because I immediately picked up Iwa. That's one of the positives Mizuki has on a commoner run, is that she still has her quote-unquote innate passive of grabbing an ally. At the same time, you can also just grab allies anywhere else. I forgot if her safety in numbers was working. Again, I kind of just jumped into gameplay of Mizuki runs, Toshiaki runs, Yashiro runs without really looking up anything. And so yeah, what you see is what you get. On top of that, Mizuki at least has average stats starting out as well. Again, these are the pluses and minuses of commoner. And more related to that subject, some people are calling for innate buffs to commoner, but I mean, I guess it wouldn't be. I would understand where it's coming from. I think one of the good suggestions was that if you play on commoner, you get a increase in 1 to every stat, minus probably luck. But if that goes through, so be it. If that doesn't go through, so be it as well. Because at this point, commoner is something that you've unlocked after going through the game more than a couple of times. So yeah. Otherwise, again, Iwa here is really good luck, but if you want to argue that point, then theoretically, say, playing as Haru, leveling up and getting core strength is good luck. Playing as Aiko or Miku and getting fast swimmer or adrenaline is good luck. Playing as Ayaka or Toshiaki and getting Fatat Flash / insta-kill spell or Blood Mania, or any of Ayaka's perks really, but mainly Blood Mania or stat increase is good luck. So if we want to try to talk about, when characters are good or not, and you want to factor in, well, you just got lucky as Mizuki, because, of course, if you roll Iwa or Ryoko, or in my case, I would even argue Yoichi is good, then that's just good luck. But at the same time, if you're going to introduce that, you might as well just say, well, if these characters are lucky, then of course they're going to be good as well. Now, are some objectively better than others? Sure. Am I still going to say, am I going to try to defend that, Mizuki is worse than average? I would still agree with that. But again, my personal opinion, and it still applies right now, is that the characters are more, if we were to say make a tier list, characters are more conflated than they seem. And a lot of, some of the things I've seen come up is like, well, your characters are very perk related, or they're very dependent on RNG. Well, that's not really a valid defense, because again, with good RNG, literally any character, a lot of the characters that, normally aren't as good, especially on commoner, which is the backstory we're playing on now, if we're trying to be relevant to what's happening on screen, is that, yes, okay, Ryoko, if Mizuki gets Ryoko or Iwa, she just becomes better on commoner, because she doesn't get to level up, she doesn't get fame, but that's also perk related, as opposed, like what I said earlier, Haru getting core strength is RNG perk related. Ayaka getting Blood Mania is perk related. Toshiaki, he already has innate passive as well, but if you were to look for one of his good pages, if we were to use that one, again, that's a whole argument in and of itself, but let's say Fatat Flash, because that lowers Doom even more. Aiko with Fast Swimmer, even running shoes if you want to, save Doom running away from bad encounters like a Rioter encounter. Miku with adrenaline, obviously. But again, if you want to introduce, well, you were just lucky with perks, you were lucky with passives, then you have to take what other characters can do into account and compare them on that level. You can't just honeypick one that applies to all characters. It has to apply in a character in a situation. An example of this would be if I ran into Rioter and I got a level up or 2 level ups as Mizuki, then maybe Mizuki does have a worse time off than, say, Haru, who may have picked up Irizumi and Core Strength, or Aiko, who may have picked up Fast Swimmer and, I don't know, literally just Fast Swimmer, but you have more level ups to roll perks as well. You have to remember this stuff. And then Aika specifically, if you roll Blood Mania and Eldritch Possession, then you have bigger stat increases, extra damage, and faster actions in battle, so she can take more encounters. That would be more fair in terms of, characters are better than the other, one is worse than the other, that. But again, I look at things more in a run of consistent quick play runs. When I look at quick play, so when people are arguing or debating or saying criticism against me or asking me certain things like, hey, Jordan, you forgot, what if you're on this and this one? Oh, it's because you're playing on Harbinger, or it's because you get lucky here. Then I'm going to try to address those based on both, my subjective experience, which I'll get into in a moment, or objective experiences, which is more theoretical probability. Like, what's the the probability of you getting a quote-unquote good ally as Mizuki is a lot lower than, say, rolling a good perk, which is normally about 33. I did calculate this out, and I think I calculated this out for mostly 4 perk characters, but it's around the realm of 33, well, a little less than 30%, but it's more closer to around 33% if you're a character with 3 perks, which Ayaka. If it sounds like I'm harping on Ayaka, it's because listen, she just happens to apply here, because she has 3 perks, and then you have Quick Thinking. You have the general perks. You have Quick Thinking, Art Knowledge, the knowledge perk. You have the knowledge perk, the charisma perk, the luck perk, which is leadership. Charisma is leadership. Outdoorsman is luck. You have the knowledge perk, perception, and dexterity. That's 5 perks you have to roll. And this is where I'm pulling the numbers from. So you have those 5 general perks, and then most characters have 4 perks, so the chance of you not rolling the perk you want is 8 out of 9 times 3, because you're rolling 3 times on a level up. It's probably even better, because as one appears in the level up, it means it can't appear again. So really, it's actually better, but it's still not. If it is above 50%, so be it. But let's just say around the realm of 45-50% chance of you finding the perk you want without rerolls. Once you start rerolling, obviously the chances get better. But if you're using, every character can do that. So if you're looking for that, if that's what we're talking about here, then it's not really as fair either. Unless you're a perk, unless your argument is, well, if you're a character that relies on these perks, then yes, that you do have to take into account level up RNG, because you have to re-roll for the perk that you want. Otherwise, the character may be better, worse, so on and so forth. Again, this is thinking more general cases. This also applies to custom characters. And again, when we are talking about balance, I'm normally looking at either one, quick play runs, preferably Harbinger, but I understand other difficulties as well. But I've talked about in the Ayaka video. The short of it is that I really only want to look at Harbinger, because on easier difficulties, it's usually a non-issue. Every character is pretty much viable for easier difficulties. True Believer is kind of tipping the edge, but Harbinger is the true test of, what characters are viable or not, because the game is harder. And then you look, well, it's also based on what happens in Harbinger difficulty as well. Which is why Toshiaki is much appreciated. In True Believer, Doom still decreases by 2 at the end of every mystery. If I got that wrong, I don't know what I was looking at then, because I swear it's 2%. But on Harbinger, Doom does not decrease at all. So in True Believer, you're overall working with at least 10% more Doom to work with, unless you get Botanist, but that applies to all difficulties, so that's why we have to remove that from the equation. It's still in the equation in terms of if you have Botanist in your run, but yeah. In Harbinger, that doesn't happen at all, which is why Toshiaki is a better character, because he has innate Doom decrease. Even though it's been nerfed to 8% per mystery, that's still because the whole design of Toshiaki is that he's supposed to level up and get his perk skills. But as it relates to Commoner, turns out you're not getting any of them unless you're doing a history club, but then that becomes less Doom efficient, like other characters who might use the history club. where it's less Doom efficient. Now, if you want to say, do I have to go to the History Club and pick up a perk as Mizuki, where the only defendable one, funny enough, the less good perks you have, the better off Commoner is for you in terms of deciding whether or not you want to go to History Club. Why? Because you don't want to look for the perk. Well, one, again, it costs 10 Doom to get a perk in the History Club, so that's 10 Doom you lose on Harbinger. And then for Mizuki, she's like, well, Fame is nice. It is a very good perk in of itself, especially if you have allies, and that's part of what people worry about, but she doesn't need it, just like, again, even Haru doesn't need core strength. Miku doesn't need adrenaline. It's nice, but she doesn't need it. But yeah, anyway, you saw me going through that, and I'll pause it now, but to complete the last 20 seconds of this video, I was kind of joking around there. Theoretically, I did pass this run because I had a second mystery check and a second encounter check. And I died there because I completely forgot for some reason that when you lose reason, you gain Doom on Cthulhu. But this was a successful Mizuki run. And take that as it is. Maybe I did get lucky. I won't deny that. But if that's the case, getting lucky as every character allows you to win any character on a Harbinger Commoner run. So again, I just wanted to put this one out because I was recording it and I was just like, meh. And this is literally the first one I decided to record. So maybe I was just lucky. And you're like, well, Jordan, you always talk about being unlucky. Here you are with a lucky run. But I always say when I'm lucky, I'm extremely lucky. But anywho, take this as it is. If you have anything to say, I'll listen to it. I'll respond to it. I've just been busy, so I haven't been able to, look at everything. But also been replying to people who replied to me directly or DM me in places, so I'm doing that as well. But otherwise, if you have something to say, say it. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you want to support me, you know what to do. Bye!